Two-time finalists, New Zealand take on Bangladesh in Game 11 of the ICC ODI World Cup. The Kiwis had a brilliant start to the tournament and are boosted by the return of their captain, Kane Williamson. Will they make it a hat-trick of wins? That's what we are going to discuss in this edition of WION World of Cricket. I am Nikhil Mathur and I'm joined by 1996 World Cup winner Dav Whatmore and by my colleague Vidur Kathuria. We are coming live to you from our newsroom, and the report from the center is that New Zealand have won the toss and they have elected to bowl first. Williamson is back, but there's no Ish Sodhi. Dav, how do you look at the playing 11?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I thought if he was to return to the team, this would be the ideal opportunity on this wicket. But that's not to be. We don't really know. There may be good reasons for it, but a little surprising for me. And the other one, can I keep going? The other surprising omission, again, could be forced, is the Will Young, who got some runs in the last game, the opening batsman, who did a very good job for New Zealand. He's out of the team, and Kane Williamson, the captain, who was everyone widely tipped to come back, returns today.
Yeah. So Vidur, as Dav said, no Will Young, who scored a 70. Do you see Rachin Ravindra opening, or do you see Kane Williamson promoting himself up top of the order?
I think Rachin Ravindra will open with Devon Conway, although both of them are left-handers. They proved that they play very well together, especially in that first game against England. As far as Williamson goes, it's just a delight to see him return. It's great for the fans. He was the player of the tournament in the last World Cup, and he's one of the ambassadors of the game. Just to see him back at the showpiece event, probably the last time that he's going to play. And also for him personally, it's a good game for him to return, because New Zealand already have 4 points on the board, and it's a smooth return for him. There's not much pressure on him. He played those couple of games in the warm-up clashes, and it's the perfect game for him to return, I would say.
And Bangladesh also making one change, Muhammadullah coming in. Do you think it's their best chance to beat New Zealand, because Chennai is a turning track? Is it their best chance?
Definitely. If I was a Bangladesh coach, I'd be very happy to be playing the leaders on top of the table, New Zealand in Chennai, because historically that's a pitch that assists the slower bowler. And they've had a lot of success in the past, I should say. So yes, I agree with you, and I'm sure that they also will be, rubbing their hands together. But they still got to do the right things. It just doesn't happen automatically. The processes has to be respected.
Shakib Al Hasan, as Vidur and I were discussing, Shakib Al Hasan lit that 2019 World Cup. He scored some 600 odd runs, but that was the last time he scored a century. Bangladesh has some decent spinners, but what about their batting? That has been a concern.
Yeah, surely it is. Only Lytton Das at the moment is a little bit of a shining light for them. But their main players, Mushfiqur Rahim, Shakib Al Hasan, who, as you rightly said, was a bit of a star in that previous World Cup. They haven't really troubled the scorers too much. So, he'll be, I'm sure, looking to turn that around. But batting generally was going to be their Achilles heel, I think. Yeah. And in fact, we're starting the third round. It's still early days, but still there's a bit of a trend beginning to happen, and none of their batsmen figure in the top 5 in the run scorers, whereas New Zealand has got the 4th and the 5th highest run scorer.
Yeah. As I've said, 4th and the 5th highest run scorer, and Kane Williamson back. Are New Zealand now the favourites to reach the semi-finals?
Well, they're certainly favourites to make it, the first team to make it 3 wins out of 3. So that puts them in a very, very good position, along with South Africa and India. They're the teams who have won all their games. And remember, Tim Southee is yet to play, and we might get to see him come in some of the next matches. But the thing about New Zealand is that the fact that Williamson can come into this game, the fact that they've already won those 2 matches, there's not much pressure on them. They're a well-oiled machine. That's what they look like right now, and they're heavy favourites to win this match.
Both of their wins were comprehensive, but sometimes what happens is, if you win very comprehensively, there must be some weaklings in this team as well, but they are not highlighted. Do you think there are any
any areas of concern? I don't think so. I think this team is well prepared. I feel that this group of players, as has been in the past, have got their heads pretty much fairly, screwed on well. They're not going to get carried away. They don't certainly appear to be anyway. And I don't think the word complacency will come into it, because they are a group of guys who just do the basics well. To me, they still go under the radar a little bit because they're nice guys. They lose really well, but they play really good, disciplined cricket in all of these aspects. So, I don't think they'll be worried too much. They just got to keep doing the right things. But no, I don't quite agree that there's some weaklings in there at the moment.
Okay, Rachin Ravindra, the guy who has been named after Rahul Dravid and Sachin Tendulkar, has been the story of this World Cup. A century in his debut and then a 50. Half century in the second match. Are we seeing another century from him?
Hopefully. We saw Quinton de Kock score a second century, so hopefully we can see Rachin Ravindra score another one as well. It's just great to see him play. He's an all-round. I know Dav isn't a big fan of his bowling.
Rubbish bowling.
But he had some tidy figures in the last match. That first game against England, it was just great to see him play because his shot-making ability was on display and just one of the exciting young talents of the World Cup. And so far, he's lit up the competition, and hopefully he can continue to do that.
The first match on this ground between India and Australia, India restricted Australia to 199. And we can say it's a battle of spinners. Who are your spinners to watch out for in this match at the MA Chidambaram Stadium?
Rachin? Look, I have to...
That was a good one.
Really, no, I have to qualify that. Please don't think that I'm negative on Rachin Ravindra, because I think he's got wonderful potential. And, he did improve from that one game to the next. Now he's playing on a pitch that's going to assist the spinners even more. So, he'll have a great opportunity to continue that improvement trend. So who to look forward to? Certainly, the Bangladeshis, Saqib Al Hasan. You need to be a little careful because together with Mehdi Hassan Miraz, they could really embarrass the opposition. So they have to, the batsmen have to engineer, they have to construct a plan that will enable them to, whilst respecting, don't lose wickets, but still knock it around and get some runs. Surely, a bad ball is a bad ball, no matter who bowls it. But I would expect good spinners from Bangladeshis. And from the New Zealand team, the leading wicket taker, lo and behold, is another spinner from New Zealand. Mitch Santner's got 7 wickets. As I said, only 2 games, but there's a small trend happening here. And New Zealand have players figuring in the top 5 in batting, runs scored, and also wickets taken. So it's not going to be easy. Mitchell Santner, and also Ravindra, who is improving all the time.
Yeah. Virat Kohli and KL Rahul did show that if you apply yourself, you can score runs on this pitch. What kind of a target would Bangladesh be looking to? The average score here is 222 in the first innings.
Well, I think they have to play the conditions, as Dav said, not come under pressure, keep looking to accumulate those runs, and anything between 240 to 250, if they get those many runs on the board, which will be a challenge, I think they will back themselves, because remember, they have good spinners, and if they can put some pressure on New Zealand in the first few overs, I think they'll back themselves. But also, if you look at the last match against England, Bangladesh didn't quite get their tactics right. It didn't adapt to the conditions. As Dav keeps saying, you have to play the conditions, you have to play the situation, which they didn't do last time, especially while they were bowling. They kept bowling outside the off stump, and England, it was easy pickings for them. So I think they have to play the conditions and keep calm, and the senior players really need to step up for them, including Saqib Al Hasan.
Dav, do you reckon 240, 250 first innings total?
I'm thinking a little bit less than that, maybe, but whatever it is, I also feel that maybe batting under lights in Chennai may be a little bit easier. You know, the wicket settled down under the coolness of the night air, as we saw in that first game against Australia. India struggled for that first 5 or 6 overs because the pace attack was very good, and it moved around a little bit, and all of a sudden, bang, 3 wickets down for only 2 runs. So you know, they need to be a little careful, but once you get over that initial period, I think it'll just be a little bit helpful to the batsmen.
You know, we have a segment called No More with Whatmore, and you guys are sending in us your comments. Do keep sending them. We will take a few of those. Raza asks, Kane Williamson is fit and ready to play against Bangladesh. Will Young rested? Is that a good decision, Dav?
A good decision to get the captain in, for sure. He's a very, very, very good player. So he needs to get into this competition as soon as possible. So he's satisfied all the requirements, mainly through the fielding exercises that he's done. He's batted, as you said, Vidura, in the practice matches. Didn't do a lot of fielding, so he's done all that. He's ticked all the boxes there. So that's a very good sign for New Zealand. Taking Will Young's place is an interesting one, but we don't know whether it's an illness or maybe an injury. We don't know, but that sort of raised our eyebrows a little bit.
You know, an interesting observation by Dennis. He says Bangladesh is the only side in the competition without a wrist spinner in their squad. Is that a benefit, he asks?
Is that a benefit?
I mean, how is that a benefit?
Maybe it's always nice to have a wrist spinner, I have to say, because those guys generally can get you a wicket. They can go for runs, but the wrist spinners that we've seen so far, Kuldeep Yadav has bowled really well, and we saw one yesterday, Tabrez Shamsi, who also bowled pretty well. Okay, he bowled middle to the late order because of the frequency of wickets that fell. And despite the dew that was around in, where were they playing? In yesterday's game. Where were they playing? In...
I think we all of us have gone blank.
But we're Lucknow. That's
Lucknow,
right.
the Ikana Stadium.
Yeah, Ikana. Despite the dew there, he still controlled the ball being a wrist spinner. So I think, you know, it would be an advantage for teams who have got it. At least you have the option of playing a wrist spinner.
Yeah. Do you want to take a few questions as well?
Yeah, of course. Dave says litmus test for New Zealand, how they play spin out there. So this is going to be one of their most challenging games, I would say.
Yeah, well, surely it will be because of the surface. And the other change, which I sort of raised my eyebrow a little bit, was the other Mehdi Hassan, who's got 4 wickets. He took a 4 wickets in the last match, and along with Saqib, he's their leading wicket taker in the tournament so far. So it appears as though they've gone for a little bit more insurance with the bat, bringing in Mahmudullah, who can bowl off spin, but I'm not sure how good he is compared to the full-time spin of this Mehdi Hassan. Litmus test, potentially yes, but I feel that the New Zealand batters are sufficiently disciplined enough to negotiate some tough periods that the spinners may produce.
We have some polls as well, Vidura?
Yeah. So we asked our New Zealand favourites to reach the semi-finals. Favourites as of now, after a couple of games. So the poll results are in, but Dav, you want to...
Are they favourites?
Verdict on that?
Well, if you're not having my opinion. I'm giving I'm giving an opinion on the poll.
Yeah.
On the poll, yes, it will. Yeah, my answer is yes for the poll.
Well, I think
What is
they
it?
said. Well, okay, fine. I'll give you the results. 82% say yes, so Dav, you got it right, and 18% say no. Well, certainly, I mean, New Zealand are looking very, very strong. They have ticked all the boxes so far. 2 contrasting victories. Of course, they were expected to beat Netherlands, but against England, that was a real statement from them. So yeah, New Zealand looking very, very strong. Okay, the next question is, will New Zealand make it a hat-trick of wins? Dav, first give your opinion and then what you think the poll would be.
My opinion is that they will make it a hat-trick. And after today, they will be the only team, I think, that's it'll be on, well, they played 3-1-3. This is the start of the third round. So the short answer is yes, I think they will. Poll says?
Poll says Dav is right as always. Yes, 90.4% think that New Zealand will make it a hat trick of victories.
Do we have a few more questions? Or
Well, we do. Lots of people are surprised that Will Young has been dropped from the side. Might be a slight niggle or something. We are not aware of that right now. But there's an interesting question that Kritan asks. Do you think fast bowlers can take more wickets than spinners? He's not specifically said in this match, but in this match, I think spinners are definitely, more favored to take more wickets.
Possibly, I reckon, but then there's also Jasprit Bumrah who's on the top, just nearing the top. He's 1 wicket less than the leader, Mitchell Santner. So even though some of these wickets will favour the spin bowlers, please don't underestimate the value of the quick as well, because that bowler can also, have the opportunity in 2 or 3 or 4 different spells to come in and pick up some wickets and make an impact. So I would think spinners, but don't underestimate the quicks. A good fast bowler.
Yeah, as we saw in the India-Australia match, where India, now we have forgotten about it, but what was India's score after the first couple of overs? 2 for 3. And who took those wickets? It was the quicks. Yeah. So good bowlers will always do well. But yeah, of course, this is a spinning track, and Ravindra Jadeja stole the show in the last match, and I think we'll see spinners come to the fore again in this match.
so prediction time, brother. Are you sticking to 240 first innings total?
Well, I said that would be a good score. I'm not saying that Bangladesh will score many. I think that will be a good score, and that will be a competitive score. But if you were to ask me for a prediction, I think Bangladesh will score in and around 200. That's what I would say. And my match prediction is obviously a hat-trick of wins for New Zealand, as everyone is thinking.
Dav.
I'm going a little bit lower than that, I think. I'm going for around about 190, 180 to 190. And this no more Whatmore, K-N-O-W, right? Some people out there still think N-O, it's K-N-O-W. If you want to know, call in, write in.
So I think Bangladesh are all set to face the first ball. We'll be tracking that match as well, and we'll get you ground reports from Ahmedabad for the big India versus Pakistan clash. Our editor Digvijay Singh Deo is in Ahmedabad. He will get you all that and much more.
Very fortunate to be there at the big clash. It's going to be a great occasion.
It's going to be a spectacle, and Dav will be with us for his insights and opinions. Do stay tuned to WION World of Cricket. This is me, Nikhil Mathur, along with Vidur and Dav, signing off.
Do it later.
No, we will.
No, not now. During.
No, we'll act.
Okay.